Okay, so this is the motorcycle detailing video. I'm going to walk you through how to detail a motorcycle. We're going to go over washing it, waxing it, claying it, polishing it, why not to put tire shine on the tires. Don't do it, you'll kill someone. We're going to ceramic coat it, so you can see how to do that as well. We're going to have to strip the wax to do that so it works. I'm going to apologize in basically all these videos for the cicadas that are very loud and competing for noise. But it's summer, it is what it is. So try to listen. That's about it. I'm going to wash it, then foam it, then scrub it, then clay it, then rinse it, and then we're going to go from there. So here we go. Okay, now it's wet. Now we foam, and then we scrub. Now we scrub. Use this. Don't use a boat brush. You can put your hand in the little weird sock thing. I usually do. And then you scrub. That is it. Then we rinse. Okay, now that it's rinsed, while it's still wet, if it's in direct sun, you usually want to dry it off and go around and do this with a spray bottle, but We put a tent up. You want to take your clay. Usually clay comes in a bar like that. You want to cut a little piece of it off. Usually I lay a pinky over it and I just cut the size of my pinky. And I take it and I work it into a flat little patty. That's it. You don't want there to be a hole in it, but you do want it kind of like that. And then you just start rubbing the paint with it. Usually I lay 3 fingers on top of it like that. And while it's still wet, it'll still have enough, it'll still slip around enough for you to go through and clay bar it. This is just gonna remove and lift all the impurities from the paint so we can polish. After this, I'm gonna show you how to polish the bike. And then we're gonna wax a portion of the bike and we're gonna ceramic coat a portion of the bike so you can see both. Just gonna clay the fuel tank really quick. See how that's done. But I mean, we're gonna do this on the car also, so you see that. On a bike, it's nothing different from a car. You just rub it over the paint, just like this. You don't wanna go in circles, you wanna go back and forth. If I were to drop this clay bar on the ground, I have to throw it away. It'll pick up a lot of sediment. You can even kind of see some of the sediment that it already picked up. It's got a little salt crystal there. You can kind of brush some of the big stuff off. If there's just little stuff in it, you want to fold it as you're using it. Fold it, crease it, and we got new clay exposed. Then you can go right back to what you're doing. You want to check it every now and then just to make sure you're not scratching the vehicle with stuff that the clay bar might have picked up. That's about it. Now I'm going to dry this off and then we're going to show you polishing. So, a DA polisher with a foam pad and our fine polish. Fine polish. You can use any like high fine polish for this. You want like a 2000 grit or higher. This is our diamond crystal polish. We just put fine polish on it there for you, so it's easy to know what you're doing for it. To use this, or any real fine polish, you just want to put some drops on the head of it. Dink. I usually just do 4. Some people do different amounts, really doesn't matter. Sometimes one in the middle doesn't hurt. This is going to be more than enough to do this motorcycle. When you're holding it, you want to have your hand on the top, and then this is the trigger. This is your speed setting. Always start on minimum. We're just spreading it around when we're starting. We don't need to really work it up yet. So, just bonk. Kind of press it against it so you get some even spread. And then we're gonna slowly pull the trigger. And right now I'm really just spreading it around. This isn't really me polishing yet. Okay. Work it up to a higher speed. On this, like a 3, because the bike's already in really good shape. And then you'll notice the head, see it's not moving in a perfect circle? So on any painted surface like a motorcycle or a car, you want to use this so it doesn't dig into the paint. When we do that boat in a while, you'll notice you're using a rotary buffer, which is a perfect circle with a wool pad on it. But this, very thin paint, foam pad, fine polish, DA buffer every time. Don't let the side of it hit it. But now we're up at a 3. You just want to keep going so it works it all in. It'll just have a really smooth haze over it when we're done. And then we're going to take a microfiber and just polish off the excess with the microfiber. Now, if this was a customer that you were doing, I would take the time to unlock the handlebars, move the handlebars to the other side, not to knock it over, but just enough to where I can get to it. Actually, I'll do it right now for you. But in an effort to make all these videos short for you, we're not going to detail the entire vehicle every single time because you'd have to sit here for like 10 hours and watch it. So, that's about it. If you want to look at the haze a little closer, Zach, you can see what's going on, and then we're just going to come over with a microfiber and remove that excess. And that is all you got to do to polish it. Now after this, we're going to wax it, and then I'm going to ceramic coat a different part of it. I'll probably just wax half the fuel tank, ceramic coat half the fuel tank, so you can see the process for each. We can do that now. I'm gonna use one microfiber to apply the wax, one microfiber to remove it. Because once this has wax on it, it's gonna be kind of caked. Just a dab will do ya. That's plenty. Ooh, wax smells good. So take it. I usually go like this, just so it's a little more even spread, so I don't put one goop in one spot. And then I'm just gonna press it and wipe it. That's it. Careful not to get it on the seat. I'll do half the tank with this. I'll have a small haze. Usually wait like 20-30 seconds, it'll kind of haze up for you, and then we'll remove the rest with this. Obviously you don't wax seat or any of these plastic trim pieces. If we get wax on a trim piece, it's hard to take off. It'll discolor it. That's long enough. We'll take this other one and we'll just remove the excess wax. And that's it. Now we're gonna pause it and I'm gonna grab all the ceramic stuff and we're gonna come back. Okay, so to prep, we clayed, we polished, but the polish is gonna be left over in the pores so the ceramic won't get a good bond. So you wanna use an isopropyl solution. If you just wanna buy straight clear isopropyl, you can buy like an 80-20 solution or a 90-10 or even a 97-3 is fine. I wouldn't use any of those higher ones on a boat, but on a painted surface like a car or a bike, that's fine. If you can't find isopropyl for some reason, Windex does the same thing. Windex is just isopropyl with dye. So I mean, if you're in a pinch, you could use that. This is a different glass cleaner, also just isopropyl. So we're gonna spray the surface. We're gonna spray the surface. And then just wipe it off. And it might not look like it's doing anything, but what that's doing is it's removing all the leftover polish that's sitting in the pores that would stop the ceramic from bonding to the surface. Now, because it's isopropyl alcohol, it's going to evaporate very quickly, so you don't need to wait long after you wipe all this off. Now, the ceramic itself. This is ceramic that we sell, that we get made for us in Fort Lauderdale. That's why it doesn't have any weird branding on it. We just put these stickers on it for you so you know what you're working with. When you get it from us, we provide a sponge and the ceramic. You can wear gloves if you'd like to when you do this. Ideally, you're not touching the surface with your fingers. You could just be careful too. But just take it. You want to kind of saturate the surface, so put like 5-10 drops on there, and then cap tuck on it. You should put the cap tuck on it. These are expensive. I just put it on the ground so I don't drop it and break it. And then take the sponge, and you just want to do a real even coat. So I start on one end, makes a funny noise, and you can see where it's leaving it. And we just need to get it all over this side. And the amount that I put on there to saturate it is more than enough for the area that we're doing. So I'm gonna go ahead and get the other half of this tank also. Don't worry, off camera we already took the wax off. So that is coated. Now we just need to buff off the excess. I'm going to use the same rag I just used for the isopropyl because the isopropyl is no longer on this. It evaporated off of it. I cannot use a rag that had something else on it. Degreaser, wax especially, or just any chemical. Isopropyl's fine as long as it's dry. This is dry. We didn't use much. But normally you'd want to use a brand new rag. So, microfiber. That's it. But you take it and you just buff it in. Now you got to look at a lot of different angles when you're doing this, because any high points that you leave, so any areas that you miss, will stay like that. It'll just look like a streak, and you won't be able to polish the streak off with a microfiber if you wait too long, because it'll harden. You'd have to come back with an actual polisher and redo basically the entire thing. So nothing about ceramic coating is difficult. It's just the prep work has to be done right. So it's a wash. clay, a polish, an alcohol wash to remove that polish, and then a coat, and then a very thorough buff with a microfiber. You really cannot do this enough, or too much rather, when you're going through. You really want to look, when you're waxing, this isn't super important, because dried wax you can just come and buff off the next day. But a ceramic, once it hardens, you got to take it off with a polisher, which means you really got to redo everything. So you'll see me looking at a lot of different angles to make sure I didn't miss any. I'm gonna go over the once I think I got all of it, I'm gonna go over the entire surface once more, just in case I missed anything. And then we should be good to go. And that's it. Now that that's done, people need to keep their oily little fingers off it. Not just you, but the client. Advise them as politely as you can not to touch it for 24 hours. It'll just leave fingerprints on it. Ideally, they don't interact with it. Ideally, you're doing this in their garage with them, so the bike doesn't need to be touched after it's done. But as far as ceramic coating goes, that's it. That's all you need to do for a bike. It works the exact same for a car. I'm going to show you on a car as well, just because the actual application's a little bit different, just because it's a much bigger area you're working with. But for a motorcycle, that's it. If you were going to do the whole bike, you know, you would get all these blue painted pieces. I might even get this chrome plastic piece for them. But that's it. We're going to move on to the exhaust, and we're going to condition the seats. Okay, so we're doing two things. We're going to clean the rims, the exhaust, and then I'm going to clean the seat right after. So you're going to see me put degreaser on the rims and the exhaust. I'm only going to let it sit for like a minute. If you leave it on there too long, it'll start eating through stuff. This is diluted. If you bought it from us, it's going to come with like this much full, and we're going to fill the rest. If you buy degreaser somewhere else and it's not diluted, you need to be very, 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 very careful. If you're buying degreaser that is intended for like ovens or grills or something like that, it's not going to be diluted. It's intended to eat through surfaces. Obviously, we don't want it eating through a client's property or our own, so dilute it, leave it on for a very short amount of time, and then rinse it off very thoroughly. So I'm going to spray it on the rims. Okay, and then I'm going to rinse it with a pressure washer, and then after that I'm just going to wipe it with a towel. And that's it. Okay. Now, once I use this towel for the rims, it's done for the day. I cannot use it for anything else. So I'm gonna wipe the exhaust, wipe the rims. Now, I like these black towels because I think they look cool, but the reality is, if you're using a black towel, it's kind of hard to tell if it's dirty. All that stuff, it's on my hand, is on this towel. So, like, when I'm done with this towel, I'm literally gonna throw it to the end of the driveway so I know I'm done with it. Or you could have a bucket that you're just throwing dirty ones in all day. That's fine too, but get it away so you know you're not gonna use it again. It would suck if I forgot and I accidentally picked this up and started using it on like a window or a leather seat. That'd be horrible. That's really it though. You just wanna make sure you wipe the entire surface of the rim, get between the spokes. Thankfully, this rim, the spokes are nice and wide, so it's not too much work. But that is it. Now this rag is done. After this, we're gonna do a leather conditioner. It's sitting right here. So all we gotta do is saturate the seat with the leather conditioner. And then get a nice even coat. Now this is going to help because it has a UV protectant in it, so it's going to make sure that the seat does not fade in the sun over time. That is all. See these little streaks? These usually fade away. If they seem like they're still there 4 or 5 minutes later, just come and give it a wipe again. Try to put it on as evenly as you can. Sometimes that's hard, but it should eventually just fade and look right. But that is about it. The only thing we have not covered, you always want to put tire shine on tires on a car. You do not want to ever put tires on a bike. It might look a little better. If a client asks you to do it, please warn them against it. The reality is a tire on a car is flat and box-like, and there's 4 of them, so there's plenty of stability. On a bike, the tire is rounded. Just kind of point at the tire real quick. See how the tire is rounded? So it's like when you're turning, you're sitting here on the edge of this tire. So if I have tire shine here, it's gonna slip. So if you add tire shine to this and they're gonna make a turn, the bike will literally just kind of come out from under them, and then, I mean, you might be liable for that. The reality is they might come back and try to pursue you for that. So I would avoid it at all costs. There's no reason to do it. It's not gonna make the bike look that much better. If you want to do like this inner sidewall part right here, I mean, I guess you could do that, but anything up here is not worth it. And this is such a small part of the tire on bikes that I would avoid it entirely. But that's it. I mean, that's a motorcycle detail. So on to other videos.